From the popular TV show 6 Feet Under to mesmerizing movies, including The Station Agent and The Green Mile, Patricia Clarkson has captured the public's attention with her portrayals of strong, resilient, and sometimes very funny women. In her new movie, Learning to Drive, she plays a New Yorker, learning to become more self-sufficient with the help of a new friend. Take a look.
Turn your head so you can see the blind spot, and the left shoulder so you can see the blind spot. Now put on your left signal. Other side of the wheel. Put on your left signal. Now turn your wheel all the way to the left. Put on the brake. Now you are in drive. Now the gas pedal. What happened?
You're moving.
That's good.
I think I don't like this.
A true story, in fact. Good morning to both of you.
Patricia Clarkson.
Yeah.
How are you? It's an honor. You're one of my favorite actresses working today. I really mean that.
Thank you.
As we're seeing there, your character does not have a license. She's learning to drive after her husband has essentially broken the marriage off.
Yes,
and
yes.
I wanted to talk to you about those driving sequences because I think they're fascinating because you're driving in New York City. A lot of times in driving in movies, they use like a rig where they pull the actor. Talk about, you actually did the driving. Talk about that element, but also what happened when you had to cross the Queensboro Bridge. I mean, this is an incredible scene.
Well, you know, slowly, I did learn to drive as a young girl, but as I became more and more a New Yorker, I've lived in New York now for 30 years, my driving skills have lapsed. But I actually, you know, this is a small film, but with a big heart, and but I didn't have a tow truck. It's me driving Sir Ben Kingsley around Manhattan, you know, me driving Dondi around Manhattan. So I had to do all of the driving myself, all of the, you know, that's me. And we have a big scene in the film where I have to drive over the Queensboro Bridge, and that's really me driving over the Queensboro Bridge. It was one of the most frightening things. I've shot all these crazy movies, but that's one of the most difficult scenes I've ever done.
In that bridge moment, though, traffic is stopped perfectly because you want you to go slowly. Was that a happy accident that there was traffic?
A very happy accident.
Really?
I mean, that's the thing, is when you're shooting in the streets of, you know, on the streets of Manhattan, you just have to, it's catch as catch can, and you can only block certain things off. So, you know, we had to have, you know, the movie gods in our favor and you know, the luck of the draw.
There's a great moment in the film, because Learning to Drive has a lot of, the meaning of the title has a lot of metaphors, obviously, about learning life and going through life. But this idea, this line, he says, it doesn't matter what's going on in your life, you must shut it out. And this, because this moment where you're trying to drive and you keep thinking about other things.
Yes.
But as an actress, you have to go to set every day and be someone else. And how do you, can you talk about moments in your life where you had to shut things out to become the character, and how do you set aside anything in your own life when playing a role?
Well, I mean, acting is muscle and memory, and I think when you take on each new project, each new character, so to speak, I mean, it is a living, breathing organism, and you have to shut out the parts of yourself that are not right for this part.
Right.
You know, Wendy, and my character in this, I bring as much of myself as I can, but there are parts of me that are not Wendy at all. And so I think it's just, that's acting. That's what you do. You have to take what is required of yourself and make it as true, bring it to the character so the character is true and lives and is honest. But you can't make it yourself and make it a false character, because it's easier. So it's a juggle, but you know, that's the beautiful thing about acting, is that we get better at it as we age. So it's a good thing to be working when you're older.
Now,
you know?
one thing I found fascinating, last night at the Q&A, someone asked you in the audience about nudity in movies and nudity, because I saw you in The Elephant Man on Broadway. That was there. And then
nudity.
In that film, in the film, you do have a sequence as well.
Yes.
But you made an interesting statement about how you said as you've gotten older in your career, you've been asked to do nudity more.
Yes.
Can you talk about why you think that is, and why you've decided to do it more and later on in your career?
Well, at a certain point, I said, "Oh, what the heck," you know.
Right.
If somebody wants me, I like the idea that, I mean, it's lovely to have. I do think there's a I think it's beautiful to see people of all ages, you know, nudity, if it's right for the scene and right for the film, it's a potent and powerful tool. And I think it's important that we use it, continue to use it, no matter what our age is. You know, people don't stop being naked as they get older.
True. This is true.
We continue to be naked.
Now, you played some of the greatest characters in the history of movies. I mean, your filmography from The Untouchables to Dirty Harry to 6 Feet Under, I mean, these are characters that are iconic. And I want to ask you just a couple of these. There's certain characters. I want to know what characteristics of these people you miss at all playing when you left them. So for 6 Feet Under, I was a very dramatic character. But what do you miss about her?
Well, I loved Aunt Sarah. I loved her joie de vivre. I loved that she was just this kind of hippie. She had such life, and she really had a devil-may-care kind of attitude about life that I certainly don't have. I loved that about Aunt Sarah. I loved that, and I miss that. Yeah.
Now, they're at me up, but you played your first movie you ever started was Brian De Palma's The Untouchables.
Oh.
I wanted to know, going from that film to this movie, what did De Palma teach you on that set that you still utilized on a movie like this today?
That's a great, no one's ever asked me that question. I feel like I've been asked everything. That's a very, that's a stunning question. I would say what he taught me that is most important is that, film is ever changing, that every take is a chance to find something different. Every take, you can go deeper, funnier, truer, every take is valuable. That's what he taught me.
Wow. Well, Learning to Drive opens up this Friday in Washington, D.C. One of the best actresses working today. If you haven't seen Shutter Island, see it immediately. It's one of the best performances with you and DiCaprio in that cave. So thank you so much. Congratulations on all your work and your success and everything. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Back to you guys at the studio.
We were just talking about great suspense films yesterday. That's one of them right there.
Excellent interview. Thanks, Kev.
Thanks, guys.
It is